Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, Matt with Green Bar Trading. So it is August 15th. We are starting a new week of trading. So it's currently 4:50 on a Sunday afternoon. And I put together what I think is a really, really good watch list for the coming week. Now, these are largely stocks that have already had their earnings reports, either the sell-off or the buying. A lot of this stuff has already happened, and they're hitting some technical areas that I start to get really interested in. Now, all of these companies have pulled back a little bit. They're not at their 52-week high. They pulled back a little bit, and what I noticed is it's starting to uptrend again. And I like to get in, especially if I'm ever going to swing trade or intraday swing trade. I like to get good deals. So that's what I think that these companies that are on my watch list for this week is what I think are good deals. Of course, do your own due diligence. Don't just take my word for it. If you like the way that the charts are setting up, for yourself, and they make sense to you, then, maybe take a look at it yourself. So a couple of them here. This is my watch list for the week. AMC is it's basically always on my watch list because it provides so much volatility, especially, if you're a day trader, and that's what most of us are. So, okay, let's start with American Airlines. Now, you're going to say, why would you possibly go long a stock that is in the travel industry? It's an airline. There's countries that are having trouble with Delta, including our own country. And, with more travel restrictions, why would you want to buy a stock like this? Well, this is the type of market that buying what people are currently not buying at the moment can give you a really good return. The days of chasing this FOMO, as the stocks are going up, whether it be EV or weed or healthcare or energy or financials, you want to be buying things when nobody else is, so that you can benefit when the buying starts to come in. We are in a bull market. So as long as you're buying good companies, the stocks that you get at a good price will most likely go back to previous highs. But like you see with the financials, and Citibank is a good example of that. This is a stock that I'm watching over here in the 60s that nobody was buying at the time. A company that makes money hand over fist. The 10-year yield wasn't, attractive. And, sometimes when these things are not attractive and the yields aren't yielding, well, it's not good for the financial sector. But what always happens with good companies is when nobody wants it, over here, you have the RSI, was hovering around 30. Very oversold conditions. So what did we see? Well, we only saw a move from 64 to 74. That's $10 on a $64 stock. You do the percentage, that's a pretty good move. Now, you can see what previously happens with this stock is very clear. It has big sell-offs and then it has big run-ups. That's what this stock has been doing, all the time. You want to be buying it when nobody else is buying it. So the same thing is going with my thesis on the airline stocks. At the moment, American Airlines, it bounced off the 200-day here, it bounced off the 200-day here, and it is currently at $19.84. Now, the reason why I'm even bringing this up, because it has made lower highs. That's not bullish, but it is still making higher lows. So if American Airlines can hold up, at the 200 level, this could be a very low risk, high reward entry at this point. So that's why it's on my watch list. Ford is another perfect example of buying something when nobody else is buying it. So this has sold off, and you can see here, all this red volume has basically sold off for the last 2 months, making lower highs the whole time, but it is making it's making higher lows. So as long as this holds up, this could be a very good low risk, high reward entrance at this price. That's why it's on my watch list. So a couple of other ones here that I'm going to go over. Now, Palantir had great earnings, good outlook. It is currently in a bullish, higher lows. It held up over this trend line. And what I really like is after this huge, huge gap up and run up in price, this was a massive, massive move from 22 to 25s. It has held up here. This candlestick on Friday, this is a very bullish candlestick, especially coming after this big move right here. Price held up. So I am very bullish for Palantir, and I can easily see it breaking previous resistance up here at 27.50. That's why it's on my watch list. So another one, AMD. You don't buy up here, you wait for it to pull back. Nothing can last a move like this without having a pullback at some point. You can see here the RSI was extremely overbought. You got the pullback, and what we're seeing now is that classic uptrend again, making higher highs from previous days. This is nice to see. That's why it's on my watch list. Square, this is another one that I really, really like. Already had its earnings. All the good news and bad news is out of the way. You had a trend line here, a very, obvious channel that this stock was trading in. It broke over it and then has been retesting this trend line ever since. So you can have a low risk entrance here. You can always sell it if it comes back down below it. But I like this one to continue this march up. And it's coming off of its highs. I like buying things at a good deal. That's why Square is on my watch list. Did I go over Nvidia? No. This is another stock, great company. Now, this does have earnings coming up. I forget the day that it has earnings, but if the earnings are really good, like we have seen in the past, this could give us an epic move. Now, I never suggest that you trade through earnings. I think it's a very risky and it's more gambling than anything, because you never know how earnings can react, can make a stock react. Even if it's good earnings, sometimes they sell off. You just never know. But the setup on Nvidia is beautiful. I mean, look at this cup with the handle. I mean, it just looks picture perfect for a breakout to higher highs. Love this setup. That's why it's on my watch list. So went over Palantir, Square. This one I like because it has been selling off basically since it IPO'd. I feel like down here is a very good price for this stock. It does have earnings coming up, so be aware of that. And it does have a very clear trend line here that price cannot break out of. So there's shorts. Every time price comes up to this level, the shorts are piling on. I don't know how much further this can go down, but we are approaching, you know, the lows for this IPO. So I do like this if it could break that trend line. So I would get long if it broke that trend line. So we went over all of these. I think we went over all of them. Oh, Boeing. Boeing is another one that is a tremendous, tremendous company. There are only a few airplane makers in the world. Boeing is one of them. They are absolutely huge. So as you can see back here in 2019, 2018, we were hitting highs in the 400s, okay? Coronavirus happened. It drastically sold off, but has been climbing ever since. We are struggling to get over this area here at the 258 to 260 level. I just really like this stock. I think that we are going to eventually break this level and start the climb to back to pre-pandemic levels. Eventually, this stock is taking a long time getting there, but as you can see, if we draw a trend line here to the March lows, it is riding that trend line. So that's why Boeing is on my watch list. This watch list right here are stocks that I'm going to be watching very closely this coming week. I think that these stocks have a lot to offer. Now, if you research these yourself, you go over the chart, make a trade plan, a price where you'll get in, a price where you want to take profit, and most important, where you're going to set your stop loss. And if the stock does not go the way that you think it's going to go, then cut the trade, minimize your risk, and move on to the next stock. There is so much opportunity in the stock market to make money. This watch list right here is just stocks that I find a lot of value in that have sold off but are still in ascending pattern, just at really better prices than chasing the highs. So I really like these stocks. I'm going to be watching them this week, and we'll see if we can take any trades on them as the week goes along. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Hit the thumbs up for the video if you enjoyed it, if you have learned anything from it. And as always, thank you so much for all the support and hitting that like button. Take care, everyone.